good evening and welcome to this evening's Board of Ed meeting. Today is the 27th of October. And
Jim Barrett,
Here.
Jerry Parker. Here. Val Close. Here. Steve Lee.
here.
Megan Michael. Here. Kathy Knight. Here. Ken Epley.
Here. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any topics to consider to add to our agenda tonight?
None, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have consent approval for the minutes of the September 22nd, 2020 Board of Ed meeting, September 22nd, 2020 Board of Ed closed session meeting, the October 13th, 2020 Committee of the Whole meeting. Does anyone have any issues with or additions or anything for the minutes for those three events?
Move we accept minutes.
Do you want a second?
Second.
Jerry Parker.
Yes.
Val Close.
Yes.
Steve Lee.
Yes.
Megan Michael.
Yes.
Kathy Knight.
Yes.
Jim Barrett.
Yes.
Ken Epley.
Yes. Okay, now is agenda time for citizens to speak. Is there anyone who would like to say something to the board? Please identify yourself, and you have up to 5 minutes.
I just have,
Who are you, please?
my name's Nancy Thompson,
Thank you.
so that's why.
And you signed in?
That's right.
You signed in?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Nancy.
So I was reviewing the school board policy, and there's a section entitled operational services. It's 4:180, and it actually speaks to pandemic preparedness. And in this section, it talks about the school district, community preparing for a pandemic, and one of the items, number 2, says that there's suggestion of forming a pandemic planning team consisting of appropriate district personnel and community members to identify priorities and oversee the development and implementation of a comprehensive pandemic school action plan. So my question is this something that the school board, this pandemic doesn't seem like it's going away. Is this something the school board has looked at, possibly implementing, and including community members going forward to address what we're dealing with right now with the school districts, and come together and work for ways to deal with what's been happening this March?
Got it. Any other citizens like to speak? Okay.
I am Steve Ray, some of you only know me.
Mr. Ray, did you sign in?
I did.
Thank you.
But I don't recall,
No, that's just so we have your information so we can respond back to you and whatever questions you may have.
okay, so that won't be any response today.
No, this is just for you to speak and then we get back to you.
First time here, sorry.
That's okay.
So, just ago, I'm a local business guy, lived here in Johnsburg for 20 years. Three kids in the district, all are 4-0 here. grades should stay pretty constant. But I don't, not really sure. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Thank you.
I initially prepared a whole letter, but it seems kind of useless because we get lost. I thought I'd give you my words, it's often accurate. So basically, I'm trying to run stuff of what Ray said. I'm just wondering why you couldn't go back to school, other schools are going back, especially because I know that I can't do the remote learning. Like, once the information goes to the screen, it like completely dissipates. And I know a bunch of other students are basically the same struggles. And I was wondering what happened in the future. Like, I mean, I also did email around, just email them, because, or just email my school, you know, because I'm sure you all have that. But yeah, I just wanted to like give a student opinion about how it's really frustrating and like I can tell you how many tears I've been shed because this is so hard because I have a 4.5 GPA for like the past couple of years of high school and now I'm failing test after test and I'm not doing all my classes. And this whole situation is great mental health upon teachers and students. I've talked to numerous people and this situation is not helping. So I'd like to know what sort of happens.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, another way to communicate with the board here during citizens' time to speak is to email us at citizenstospeak@johnsburg12.org. We received 4 submissions for this evening's meeting, so I will read those off. The first one comes from Alexandra Blake. First off, this is going to be informal, but that isn't important because I want to be heard. E-learning could be done by grade instead of alphabet. This may make classrooms cramped. However, as long as the desks are spread apart like how they would be for a test and everyone is facing one direction and wearing their mask, it should be fine. I understand this does not follow guidelines, but that doesn't mean students should be failing. I understand the need for the roundabout kind of hallway, but at least change the lines near the water fountains in the cafes so that you don't have to go all the way around. The Chromebooks signing out is driving me nuts because they fall asleep really fast, and now that everyone has their own, I really see no need for them to do that at the moment. If not by grade, maybe put together a committee of students from all types of groups and have them split up students by who people are friends with, and that would make it safer if there were to be outbreak. Then people would just blow it off and have a sleepover with a friend from the other side of the alphabet. Even if you continue to do this alphabetically, you could do full weeks. One week is A and another is B, and Wednesday can still be a cleaning day because last week was super long and I woke up bright and early, then slept in a bit, then slept in a lot, then I had to wake up again and repeat the process. That was not healthy, and there's no point in waking up at 6 for online classes at 8. If you did it weekly, then sleep schedules would be better, and there would be less exposure to the other group. I think weekly would work nicely, and the week won't feel super long and have bad sleep schedules. I think in person could continue as long as everyone is wearing masks, and there are some more tests on the in-person group. All in all, I think that doing in-person weekly would be much better and would help. Thank you for reading all that. Hee hee. The next letter is from a Christine Silvestri. Hello, I'm writing to voice my opinion that District 12 should return to hybrid or all in-person learning. I can only speak for my own 2 kids, and I want to let you know that I feel they are not learning half as much as they would be and should be if they were attending school in person. Both of my children are struggling, and their grades reflect it. My son is in 8th grade and has an IEP. The teachers are doing their very best, but he is not staying focused or engaged. My daughter is an honor student at the high school, and she has always maintained a B average. Currently, though, they both are frustrated and having trouble staying motivated. I think another problem is that the students are not required to have their cameras on, which allows them to detach and disconnect even more. Why are they not required to have their cameras on at all times? In school, the teacher is able to see their students and make sure they are staying on task and engaged. Why is this not happening in the remote environment? Learning through a Chromebook screen for hours every day is difficult to say the least, even for adults. Please reconsider your decision and allow these kids to return to school. Thank you, Christine. We had another one submitted anonymously, and I will not read that. You have to identify yourself for the minutes. And if this person who sent it anonymously wants to resend it with a name attached, I will happily read it next time we're here. The 4th letter is from a Patricia Hall. Hello, my name is Patricia, and I am a senior at Johnsburg High School. This year has brought so many disappointments to us as students. School trips being canceled, prom, graduation, and a multitude of others. One of those disappointments came just last Thursday. After being in hybrid for 1 day, we were sent back to remote that Monday. Remote learning has shown that we as students need to be in the classroom to have a better time learning and being able to pass. It's very hard on us to look at a screen for 5 to 7 hours a day on Zoom calls and online assignments. When I went back to school on Friday for hybrid, you could just see the happiness in the students, teachers, and all the other staff members because we got a sense of normalcy in our lives again. We as a whole have proven that hybrid can work. I hope that in the very near future, we can see that happiness in the staff and students of this district. Thank you so much for your time. Patricia Hall, grade 12. Okay, thank you all for your feedback and your comments. It is appreciated. Next, we have the bills. Annie, what would you like us to know about the bills?
Sure. I'd actually like to highlight, if you look at the explanation of bills, you'll notice that we have listed activity funds on this set of explanation of bills. The reason for that is for our auditors and our working with them this fall, there's been some changes to what's called GASB 84, which is the generally accepted standard board that, Governmental Activities Standard Board has implemented some new standards for accounting for the school districts. So now moving forward, we have to also account for our activity funds on the actual explanation of those and account for that as well in our budget. So for this year, we did have to put an expenditure and a revenue expectation for that account on the budget. We basically put an in and an out based on prior years. And moving forward, we have to also improve the actual expenditures for activity. For this set of explanation of bills, including the first quarter of this year from July 1 through September 30th, moving forward, I'm going to include it on a monthly basis. Also included in the packet is a summary of all of the checks that were issued from July 1 to September 30th. And again, moving forward, we'll see that on a monthly basis. It's very similar to the way that we report out for our in-test account. So just a note for that. In any specific expenditures that I think should be noted will be included on that explanation bill as well. Other than that, you'll see we're still doing some things, paying for some items for just the setup of the classrooms in the hallways. We're going to be seeking reimbursement for those for FEMA, and I'll try to highlight those in the explanation bill moving forward as well.
Do we have questions for Annie? Jerry, any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we pay the bills as presented.
Second.
Second.
Feltes,
Yes.
Steve Link,
Yes.
Megan Michael,
Yes.
Kathy Knight,
Yes.
Jim Barrett,
Yes.
Jerry Parker,
Yes.
Tom Eckling.
Yes. Next on the agenda, we have reports from advisory committees. First off, we have the PTO. Bridget's going to tell us about the PTO.
So PTO, met last month, and, it was actually a very well-attended meeting. They talked about, bike sales that were closing right around then, and how we would arrange for pickup. They talked about other possible things, that they're looking into to continue to raise money for schools. They talked about breakfast with Santa and how they are, not going to be able to do that, and, just some options they have around that, since that's one of our biggest fundraisers. I think that, so, they're moving along, as always, very grateful.
Thank you, Bridget. And Megan is here to tell us about the JEPF.
So we met yesterday, we've been meeting monthly, virtually. In yesterday's meeting, we have decided that we're gonna have to postpone our winter tasting fundraiser, but we'll keep looking at it, and there's possibilities some of those events are happening virtually. So we'll look into it and see if that's something that we wanna pursue. That would be January, end of January-ish. At this time, we are still sponsoring some AP scholarships, so those come in and we'll be able to support all three of the applicants that applied. And then we're working towards just setting some good goals for expenditures and seeing what else the district has needs for this year.
Thank you, Megan. Action items. We have one action item this evening, Johnsburg High School course proposal for next school year. Oh, informational items. We'll double back, sorry. We have two informational items. First, we have building updates on hybrid and remote learning.
Annie's going to go over her computer, so we have the building principals talk for a little bit in regards to kind of an update on what's been happening in their places. I thought this would be a good opportunity to update the board. I know the board follows the health interest in regards to what's been happening and in regards to what we've been following, what we've been saying we were going to follow the health department guidelines. I can't speak for other districts. I don't know why other districts are choosing not to, but I know that we've said that we'll follow those. So in regards to the school matrix, there's still 3 out of 4 that are continue to be negative. The incidence rate is supposed to be between 8 and 14 per 100,000 per day. It has increased to 31 now per day. Positivity rate is 12.1. It needs to be between 5 and 8%. And the new weekly count, COVID cases, that continues to increase. That increases every Friday, so it's not a daily update, but that was up to 300 some odd cases last week. In looking at kind of zip code or more localized just to the district in regards to things, I've utilized the Northwestern University COVID site where I can drill down to the zip code for our district. Those rates and information continue to show an outbreak. The cases per day have doubled over the past 5 days. Positivity rate is up 61% in the past 7 days, up to 10.5% just in our zip code, or just in our district's area. That's up 61%. And the incidence rate is up to 30 per 100,000 per day just in our zip code. So I know the board likes to keep track of that because I know you check it daily, as well, so we can start to see things turn and then start to roll and get back into person. And we had a conversation with the health department today, they said that the trends are not looking at all good, that they're continuing to show an outbreak in the county. And to anticipate mitigation things coming to businesses and things like that, in Springfield, potentially tomorrow or Thursday, depending what happens with the positivity rate tomorrow. Wish I'd done this. So at this point, I think I'll go ahead and Laura. I think you're over there somewhere. Laura will give an update on Ringwood, and then we'll just go through the 4 buildings for the board to keep you posted, and if you answer any questions again.
Good evening, everybody. Okay. So Raymond School started October 1st with pre-K. Quite successfully, we're excited to see our pre-Kers come in. The alphabet split in the morning and afternoon. Progressively added in our kindergartners, the following got an 8, and then the 15 saw our first and second graders in the building. Learned a lot in that process. Very much appreciate everybody's flexibility in working those grade levels through. Instructionally, it has been tricky. As you can imagine, having 20 pre-K first graders in a classroom and including pupils and net vendors is quite tricky. Doing that between the Zoom removal needs and negotiating that in the classroom with maybe half a dozen bodies is pretty tricky as well. And staff rose to the occasion, did the best they could. Did feel it was a bit of a struggle in time management for themselves and getting the most impact out of their instruction, but we're working towards making some strides in the last week. So we did change up some of our protocols as we were progressing through getting more students into the building. One of which was including each room seating areas so we could have students evenly spaced. Students actually prefer being in the each room because they've got a wonderful view of our outdoor area and an adult that they have to hang out with that they really got along with well. Kudos also goes out to our maintenance crew, all their hard work, and for putting out some really nice children's playground games. It's a new addition from our courseware that we typically have at the playground, just more colorful artwork. They're continuing to put out the facilities in partners also with our adaptive PE course, using some of their skill building tools out on the ground and other things as well. Thank you.
Questions for Laura? Rick?
Thank you, Ms. Stowry.
Good evening, everybody. So yeah, we have just students in our building for a total of 6 days, 3 days per cohort, and starting a week and a half ago. So attendance, teachers take attendance throughout the day via Skyward Google Forms, so they take attendance at Skyward in the morning, and then at the end of the day, they update if students missed any periods, PE or whatever, or math or whatever they missed, and that's for their remote learners. So parents can contact me if they have a situation that prevents their student, because at the elementary level, it's not as simple for some of those families. They don't necessarily, they can't leave their kids home alone. So they may be in a daycare or in another situation that makes remote learning challenging. So we just, I just are in communication and we work through those things. Sometimes it's more they need a hotspot or other things, so we talk through what that might look like for their child. And then we also hybrid students may attend remotely for any reason. So if they give a call and say, hey, we're not feeling well, we don't want to send them to school, but they can still work from home. That's great. That's what we wanted to do. So we're allowing that as well. For the protocol, staff and students are following all their protocols established by the district and the health department. We monitor lunch and recess transition times as well as the PE transition times so that we can, in the future, look to add additional opportunities for kids to leave their classroom. Currently, art and Learning Center are pushed into each classroom. We were hoping to reopen our Learning Center and have kids go into the Learning Center. Not that they be perusing the aisles and, touching all the books, but just, having more access to books. And I think just getting out of the classroom more than, a couple times a day is good for them. And then also we were looking to find ways to make our playground and equipment accessible to students moving forward. For the instructional piece, homerooms are live streaming at all grade levels, so their regular instruction, the students are at home, able to watch on camera, and students in the classroom can see, they put the kids that are at home up on the smartboard in most of the classrooms, unless they're working on a math problem at that time, something like that. PE is live on Wednesdays during hybrid learning. So that's when those remote students can see them, each week. Art and LC are live for remote students once per week. And then the second day in the week would be either for computers or an async day for art. Music we just decided to do next semester just to see if we could get any sort of real music accomplished, with the singing, etc. And then our technology we use, we have a mix between Google Meet and Zoom. We use Seesaw faithfully through all of the grade levels. There's just so many different pieces of technology that our staff are using. And I have been so impressed with our technology department this year. I can't say enough about how on top of things they are for us in our building. So I'm very appreciative. Does anybody have any questions? Josh might want to start off on them. Any questions? Thank you.
Should have started.
Yeah.
I'm short of breath.
Good evening, everyone. So we had students in the building 4 days total. We had 6th graders in the building for 2 days. So on the 19th and the 20th, we had our A and B 6th graders respectively in the building to give them an opportunity to just acclimate themselves a little bit prior to the other kids being in. And, with them being anxious and never having been in the building, I think that helped kind of make, ease some of their anxiety. And then obviously the remote day on Wednesday, and then on Thursday and Friday, we had all the A kids in. Unfortunately, on Friday, after the announcement had gone out, some of our B kids elected to just stay home rather than attend for that one day. But regardless, it was really good to have the kids back. And so we built in some additional time in the morning, not really knowing how long it would take to get all the students certified and through the doors. And I'm happy to say that we had the kids in 10 minutes, 10 or 11 minutes. So they were in by 8, 10, 8, 11. Didn't even need the extra time. So kudos to our support staff in particular, who did a really good job of doing the temp checks and making sure they had self-certification and conducting the certification if they had, and getting them into their classrooms. Attendance, now teachers are thanks to the state, having to keep track of whether kids are in-person present or remote present or not present. So attendance was a bit of a challenge on those first couple of days because we threw additional codes at them right before sending kids back in the classroom, but they figured it out. For the protocol, we had the parents fill out the self-certification in the morning, and again, kudos to our tech department because they were able to set it up so that parents could sign up for text reminders that only went to them on the days when their child was going to be attending. And then we got reports in the morning to see who hadn't self-certified, and then we would conduct the self-certification as they entered. We temp checked everybody, and utilizing both nurses' offices for quarantine in the event that was needed. Unfortunately, for some of our sixth graders, this was right after the exclusion date for immunizations and physicals, so we had a number of our sixth graders that were super excited to be back, that we had to tell that they either needed to go home or they needed to go and get a physical. So that was poor timing. A lot of parents had paperwork, but they just hadn't turned it in because their kid hadn't been attending in person. We have always, most of them divided up for two-way traffic, so there's dividers in the middle so that kids would stay distant as they're going in both directions. Arrows to indicate the direction they should go, signage everywhere to remind kids of proper hygiene, social distancing, wearing masks, and we use the procedure of students gelling in and gelling out when they would enter the class, so there's hand sanitizer right by the door, so they can be sure to sanitize. And we were able to provide some time outside for them, which was good, after lunch was over, except on the days that it rained, but then we were able to utilize the gyms that allow them to kind of space out and move around. And the leadership team came up with the idea to use a hall pass that was a Google form, because hall passes probably aren't really sanitary at any time, particularly when during a pandemic. So they were able to take more hands off the road, which was nice. The instructional lead staff were amazing. I had staff who, some of them had 2 devices, 2 monitors going. The co-teaching where they're still in separate rooms because it's hard to have 2 voices going simultaneously, and just the way that people adapted was incredible. I had some teachers that admitted that they occasionally forget about the remote kids because they're so excited to have the kids in front of them back in the building, so they run back over their computers so they could check on the kids that weren't in person. But they were really excited to have them back and utilizing a variety of tools to deliver effective instruction. And staff has been taking advantage of the choice menu that Terry's department has provided to help build their skill set with delivering instruction in the hybrid. So how do we meet these kids that are both in person and remote? Any other questions?
Yep.
I feel like it's graduation when the last guy probably heard most things already, so I'll try to skip over some. But at the high school, similar scenarios to what we're seeing in the other schools, incredibly positive experience with our kids. We had freshmen Monday, Tuesday, then we had all the students A on Thursday, B on Friday, and just a really good energy. Thanks to Carissa and her dad for coming tonight, and just good to hear your feedback. Chris is also on our student advisory committee, so I give you your perspective. But just from the optics of looking at things, just great energy, and it was very successful from what I saw. Huge kudos to Tech, as you've heard already, but I'll reiterate that. Also, huge kudos to Patricia Kabaj and the entire custodial maintenance crew for helping us get things set up. We've set up multiple times between now and moving in summer for various things. Really, I felt was very effective. Kudos to our cafeteria ladies who not only helped out, obviously, during lunch times, but also we were able to send lunch or food home to students at the end of the day, depending on if there was a need. And the 2 main groups that I wanted to say 3 main groups. First of all, is for parents for their just understanding through this and their patience. But our students and our teachers are incredibly resilient folks, and to continue to throw different scenarios at them and to have them respond as well as they have has just been incredibly impressive. As I said in my announcements to the students and teachers, this doesn't work unless you really are on top of your game. And whether it was going through passing periods, lunchtime, PE, whatever it was, they rocked it. If you walk through our gym, you would see that our teachers set up these 4x4 stations where they were 8 feet apart, and kids were basically doing various cross-training things. Every classroom you walk by, people were just being very creative and trying to reach both groups. And as Josh said, some teachers were so excited to have kids in front of them. And I talked to Mr. Yuki, he's like, I got to the last 5 minutes of class and I remembered, oh yeah, I got kids online too. I got to come back to them. So it was definitely a learning process, but we were excited to get a chance to do that. We did a staggered start with freshmen and sophomores coming first, and then our juniors and seniors next. Again, thanks to Mr. Justy and Rachel Rowan for their help with that process. Really helped us get kids in and out in a very smooth manner. We're letting kids in the back parking lot that will be picked up go about 3 minutes early so we can avoid some of those issues with traffic. And then we have designated exits for kids to go out at the end. And again, considering we've never done it before, I was very pleased and just incredibly thankful to work with the people I knew because I felt that it went as good as it could and that was very successful. Questions?
Thank you. Next, we have a Freedom of Information Act request.
You got that information in your packet where we had a freedom of information request. Pull that up.
I have it.
You got it?
Yep.
Thank you.
It was from a company called ANDA, EPAC Inc. They requested information related to public homeschool and parentally placed students in D12 who got IEPs and were placed in primarily private or homeschool. And also whether or not they were funded in any way with our ideal local or preschool funds for the school years of 2015-16 through next school year. So it was a count of students, not specific to schools. We're able to do that.
Thank you for taking care of that. All right, now we get to the action items. There's, of course, proposal from the high school for the next school year.
Motion, we approve that one change to the math course.
Second.
Steve Lake,
Yes.
Mindy Michael,
Yes.
Kathy Knight,
Yes.
Jim Barrett,
Yes.
Jerry Parker,
Gary?
Jerry? Oh, he's on mute. He's saying yes.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't hear. Yes, oh, yes, sorry, guys.
John Close,
Yes.
Tom Epley.
Yes. Okay, other business, there's a committee of whole meeting here, November 10th, and the next board meeting will be here, November 24th. I'm looking for a motion to go into closed.
Make a motion.
Second.
Mindy Michael,
Yes.
Kathy Knight,
Yes.
Jim Barrett,
Yes.
Jerry Parker,
Yes.
John Close,
Yes.
Steve Lake,
Yes.
Tom Epley.
Yes. Okay. Thank you all for coming.